Jennifer had always found comfort in the familiar rhythm of everyday life. Living in a snug apartment in Portland, she cherished the quiet moments of her evenings spent preparing dinner for herself and Michael. The gentle clatter of utensils and the soft hum of a radio in the background had long been the soundtrack of her life, a life that, until recently, felt predictable and secure. Yet over the past months, subtle shifts began to make themselves known. Jennifer noticed small, almost imperceptible changes in her own reflections. A new light in her eyes when she laughed, a cautious curiosity when she looked at her reflection in the mirror after a long day. It was as if a quiet wind had stirred something deep inside her, awakening parts of her that had long been dormant. Every evening, as she stirred the sauce on the stove and set the table meticulously, these inner stirrings grew. They whispered promises of unexpected discoveries and hinted at a life more vibrant than the comfortable routine she had so carefully constructed. Though her days with Michael remained filled with mutual respect and shared responsibilities, there lingered an unspoken question. Had she been missing a piece of herself all along? In that small, peaceful apartment, as the twilight deepened outside, Jennifer's thoughts began to dance with possibilities, each one a gentle step toward a future neither entirely known nor fully anticipated. That evening, as twilight draped the city in soft blues and grays, Jennifer prepared to leave her apartment for a quick visit to the small local cafe, where she sometimes found solace in its gentle hum and quiet conversation. The air was cool and carried whispers of rain, as if nature itself was stirring with subtle anticipation. Her mind wandered over the changes she had sensed in herself recently, each small shift a gentle reminder that nothing in life ever remained entirely static. Just as she reached the door, a faint, rhythmic sound echoed down the hall, a sound unlike the usual silence of her quiet building. Jennifer paused, heart quickening unexpectedly, and opened the door. Standing there was Ethan, Michael's son, whose presence stirred a cascade of long-forgotten memories. His expression was calm, yet carried an unspoken question, as though he carried news that transcended the routine boundaries of family ties. The sight of him, now unmistakably a man with a thoughtful gaze, disrupted her carefully ordered world. In that brief moment of reunion, the past and present converged. Ethan's silent arrival filled the doorway with a mix of familiarity and a hint of something new, setting in motion an unexpected sequence of events that would gently ripple through the fabric of her life. Ethan's unexpected visit stirred memories that stretched far back into a simpler time. As Jennifer sat at the table with a cup of cooling tea in hand, the echo of his youthful laughter resurfaced, an echo from when he was merely a boy, full of untamed energy and mischief. Back then, she had embraced him with the warmth of a family member, a role that had always felt natural and uncomplicated. Now, confronted with the man he had become, Jennifer felt a curious mixture of nostalgia and wonder. Ethan, with his gentle smile and calm demeanor, had come not merely to reminisce, but to offer his support during a moment when change loomed large over her life. His words, careful and sincere, carried the weight of a man who understood that life could evolve in unexpected ways. In offering his help, he bridged the gap between the innocent past and the complex present, urging her to acknowledge that relationships, much like seasons, are bound to transform. In that quiet exchange, the simplicity of previous bonds began to reveal new layers. The familiar comfort of family ties blended with the promise of fresh beginnings, stirring within Jennifer a contemplation of what might lie ahead, a future where old roles could be redefined and affection might take on a different hue. In the bright, welcoming nook of her living room, Jennifer and Ethan settled with 2 steaming cups of coffee, letting the soft clinks of porcelain punctuate their conversation. The afternoon light streamed in through large windows, illuminating not just the room, but also the gentle openness in their expressions. Their dialogue started casually, remarks on the shifting hues of the sky and brief mentions of favorite novels, yet soon the discussion meandered toward the tender reservoirs of memory. Jennifer began to share recollections of her earlier years, tales of simple joys and quiet gatherings that once defined her daily life. Each story was recounted with care, the vivid details painting a picture of a past where laughter mingled with small victories and minor heartaches alike. Her words, measured yet sincere, brought to mind the comforting warmth of long-forgotten afternoons, moments when the boundaries between familial roles and personal dreams blurred effortlessly. Ethan listened intently, his eyes reflecting a blend of admiration and a thoughtful curiosity. He noted in his measured tone the subtle transformations that had taken root within her over time, how her gaze had deepened as if each experience had added a new layer to her inner landscape. The conversation evolved into a quiet exchange of shared insights, each narrative gently unraveling the complex tapestry of life lived with both joy and quiet resolve. In that calm moment, the room itself seemed to breathe with the collective memories of days past, a silent witness to the unfolding revelation that personal growth often emerges most gracefully in the simplest of settings. The next morning, Jennifer decided to escape the confines of her apartment for a solitary walk along the river in the city park, a familiar retreat where the gentle flow of water and the rustle of leaves provided a quiet sanctuary for reflection. The air was crisp, carrying a faint scent of damp earth and new beginnings, as if nature itself acknowledged the shifting currents in her life. Lost in her thoughts, she ambled along the winding path, each step echoing the silent beat of her introspection. To her surprise, as she reached a secluded bend by the water's edge, she found Ethan already there, standing quietly with his gaze fixed on the shimmering surface of the river. His presence, unannounced yet not unwelcome, added a new layer to the morning's calm. Their eyes met, and in that exchange lay a mutual understanding, a wordless conversation about changes, regrets, and the hopeful possibility of renewal. They walked side by side in silence, the soothing murmur of the river mingling with the unspoken questions between them. The simplicity of the moment was profound. The shared solitude underscored the realization that even familiar settings could be transformed by subtle shifts in perspective. In the gentle companionship of the morning light, Jennifer began to sense that her inner landscape was evolving, a quiet, inevitable transformation that promised both uncertainty and the possibility of rediscovering a deeper self. Returning home after the reflective morning by the river, Jennifer and Ethan moved to the open veranda where the day's first meal awaited creation. The simple act of preparing breakfast unfolded as a quiet ritual, bridging memories and unspoken understanding. Together, they arranged ingredients on the weathered wooden table, their movements synchronized in a natural, unforced manner. Jennifer sliced fruit with deliberate care while Ethan brewed coffee and laid out freshly baked bread, the soft clinks of utensils against ceramic and the gentle hum of the waking city served as an understated soundtrack to the scene. In these shared moments, every glance conveyed a meaning beyond conversation. Their work, though ordinary in nature, assumed a subtle significance, a delicate interplay of long-held routines and emerging nuances of connection. The crisp morning air mingled with the rich aroma of coffee, creating an atmosphere that was both comforting and quietly transformative. With few spoken words, each measured action spoke of acceptance, mutual respect, and the tentative exploration of new personal chapters. Amid the routine gestures of breakfast preparation, Jennifer sensed that her life was unfolding in ways she had not imagined. The blending of familiar habits with the promise of an unforeseen future filled her with a gentle optimism, as if each small shared act was composing a new verse in the evolving story of her existence. After their shared breakfast, the apartment resonated with the soft murmur of daily tasks as Jennifer and Ethan set about tidying up together. The act of cleaning, usually a solitary chore, transformed into a quiet duet of movements and unspoken understanding. While clearing the table and gently wiping down the counters, Jennifer found herself stealing glances at Ethan. In the reflection of a nearby window, their eyes met, brief yet filled with a subtle promise of change. There was a delicate simplicity in that moment, A small smile passed between them, an almost imperceptible exchange that felt like a soft acknowledgement of something budding quietly beyond their routine familial connection. As they moved through the familiar spaces of the apartment, every gesture, the careful arrangement of a misplaced book, the light-hearted comment on a forgotten detail, seemed to deepen the silent conversation that now interwove their actions. In that unassuming interplay, Jennifer experienced a gentle stirring of emotions that defied the simple categorization of friendship or duty. The warmth of the exchange hinted at a redefinition of their relationship, one that transcended the roles they had long assumed. The domestic rhythm of the day, now imbued with this new closeness, made Jennifer pause and reflect on the evolving landscape of her heart. The quiet moments of the cleaning routine had unexpectedly become a canvas upon which a new chapter of understanding was beginning to unfold. Later that evening, as the sky deepened into a gentle indigo and the apartment grew quiet once more, Jennifer found herself alone in a softly lit corner of the living room. The day's subtle shifts, accumulated in quiet moments of shared routine, had woven an undercurrent of change that neither could ignore. The atmosphere was calm, yet filled with a latent awareness that something meaningful had taken root. Ethan appeared quietly in the doorway, his presence drawing Jennifer's gaze. In the stillness of that moment, words seemed unnecessary. Their eyes met in a silent dialogue, a conversation of mutual recognition and the dawning of a new understanding. It was as if the accumulated tenderness of the day had led to this inevitable, delicate crossing of a line that had once been clearly drawn. In a soft and measured gesture, Ethan leaned in, and their lips brushed lightly. The kiss was brief, an unspoken affirmation of the profound change that had quietly blossomed between them. In that fleeting contact, Jennifer experienced a surge of awareness, as if each heartbeat now carried the echo of a promise and the quiet stir of a future yet to be written. As they slowly pulled apart, both were left with a deep, reflective silence, a shared realization that the contours of their relationship had been redrawn in a single, subtle moment. The delicate encounter lingered in the quiet, a gentle yet unmistakable turning point in the fabric of their intertwined lives. After that fleeting kiss, Jennifer found herself alone in the quiet aftermath of the evening, a moment that rapidly transformed into a storm of inner thoughts. The soft glow of the living room lamp illuminated not only the space around her, but also the labyrinth of emotions that now crowded her mind. The tender encounter with Ethan had awakened in her a cascade of reflections, blending the sweetness of rediscovered affection with the weight of responsibilities long held. Jennifer's thoughts spiraled between the comforting familiarity of her life with Michael and the unexpected, stirring pull toward a different, more unpredictable future. In the solitude of her study, she began to question the foundations of her existence. Every memory of shared dinners, gentle routines, and the mutual respect she and Michael had built over years now clashed with the vivid recollection of Ethan's sincere smile and the warmth of his presence. Was it possible that her heart, so long in quiet service to a predictable life, now craved something that was both startling and true? With each quiet moment, her mind re-examined the delicate balance of loyalty, love, and personal growth. The conflicting feelings left her restless. She pondered over the significance of that light, unexpected kiss, a moment that had subtly redrawn the lines between past and present. In that introspective silence, Jennifer sensed that the choices ahead would redefine her life. The uncertainty of what lay beyond this turning point filled her with a profound contemplation as she braced herself to face the evolving contours of her own heart. The following evening, Michael organized a family dinner at their new country house, a gesture meant to celebrate new beginnings and reinforce the familiar bonds that had always defined their lives. The spacious dining room, with its rustic wooden table and softly flickering candles, set the stage for an evening that would soon reveal layers of unspoken meaning. Jennifer, dressed in a simple yet elegant outfit, moved through the preparations with a quiet composure that belied the inner turbulence of her thoughts. As the family gathered, the atmosphere was cordial yet charged with a delicate undercurrent. Michael's steady presence exuded the reliability of years spent building a shared life, while Ethan's reserved smiles and thoughtful glances hinted at the recent, subtle changes between him and Jennifer. Throughout the dinner, every gesture, the precise way Michael poured wine into each glass, the careful placement of cutlery, the courteous pauses before speaking, seemed laden with significance. Jennifer found herself navigating the conversation with a keen awareness of each subtle exchange. Michael's words, though warm and engaging, occasionally carried a nuance that made her question if he sensed the evolving dynamic between his son and her. Meanwhile, Ethan's quiet interjections and the slight shift in his tone lent the evening an air of complexity that made every moment feel both familiar and uncharted. With each course served and every shared smile, the dinner table transformed into a stage where unspoken truths played out beneath the surface. In that intimate setting, the ordinary act of dining became a reflective mirror for the intricate interplay of loyalty, expectation, and the stirring promise of a life redefined. A delicate balance that would soon demand a choice from Jennifer, one that might irrevocably alter the course of her days. In the quiet solitude of a late night, after the echoes of the family dinner had faded into soft murmurs, Jennifer found herself alone in the vast stillness of the country house. The day's events played in her mind like fragments of a delicate film, each scene imbued with both warmth and an undeniable weight. Michael's measured words, though kind and rooted in years of shared history, had hinted at a subtle awareness of the evolving landscape between her and Ethan. The glances exchanged, the soft cadence of unspoken thoughts, all converged to form a tapestry of emotions that challenged the very essence of her inner stability. Sitting by an antique window, Jennifer gazed out at the moonlit garden where shadows danced with the promise of a future unknown. The choices before her were complex and intertwined, the loyalty and familiarity of a well-worn path with Michael, and the invitation of a quiet, new beginning represented by Ethan, a beginning that carried with it the thrill of rediscovery without overt declarations. Her heart, ever introspective, recognized that both roads had reshaped her in different ways. In that reflective silence, she resolved that the journey ahead would be defined not by past obligations, but by an honest acknowledgement of her inner truth. With measured determination, Jennifer stepped away from the window, ready to embrace the unfolding mystery of her own evolving heart, knowing that the coming days would demand courage, authenticity, and the acceptance that life, in its quiet transformation, is both a farewell to old certainties and an invitation to a future rich with promise. In the days following that pivotal night at the country house, Jennifer found herself adrift in a delicate balance between the familiarity of her established life and the allure of an uncertain new direction. The soft morning light through her window had begun to feel like a gentle invitation, each ray a reminder that life's evolution never truly halted. With Michael preoccupied by his work and Ethan gradually resuming his routine with an unspoken understanding lingering between them, Jennifer spent long hours alone with her thoughts. At first, the silence was overwhelming. Every quiet moment brought forth a series of reflective questions. Could the subtle warmth shared over that brief kiss herald a future where her heart would be free to explore? Or was it merely a transient spark destined to fade amid the complexities of her commitments? The weight of responsibility, both to the life she had built with Michael and to the memories of simpler times, compelled her to search deeply within herself for the truth. In these moments of solitude, Jennifer began to write in a leather-bound journal, each entry a candid reflection of the inner conflict between duty and the allure of uncharted passion. As summer ripened into early autumn, the town around her shifted subtly, mirroring the internal transformation that Jennifer was undergoing. The local park, once a silent retreat, now seemed to whisper secrets of transformation with every rustle of falling leaves. One crisp afternoon, she took a solitary walk along a winding path lined with ancient oak trees. The air was cool, carrying a scent of rain and earth, and for the first time in months, Jennifer allowed herself to imagine a life where each decision could lead her to rediscover parts of herself she'd long forgotten. A chance encounter at the neighborhood bookshop further stirred her thoughts. There, she met an elderly woman who spoke of her own journey of reinvention after years of conformity. "The heart," the woman had said with a knowing smile, "is resilient. It finds a way to thrive even when the world expects it to be still." Those words, soft yet resonant, echoed in Jennifer's mind long after she left the shop. They became a silent mantra, encouraging her to embrace the inevitable changes that time and circumstance had wrought upon her soul. Evenings grew into a cherished time of introspection. With each passing dusk, Jennifer would sit by the window in her quiet apartment, watching the interplay of shadows and city lights, each glimmer a tiny beacon of hope or regret. Memories of Michael, his comforting routines, the gentle stability he provided, mingled with the vivid recollections of Ethan's thoughtful eyes and the warmth of that one transformative moment. Rather than yielding to confusion, she began to see these contrasts as the very fabric of human experience, the coexistence of past commitments and the potential for new beginnings. Yet the path ahead was anything but simple. Conversations with Michael became more measured as he sensed her inner turbulence, though he never addressed it directly. Ethan, too, maintained a respectful distance, his gestures laden with unspoken meanings. The quiet tension in their interactions was not marked by overt drama, but by the soft pressure of what might be, a subtle recalibration of lives that had once seemed immutable. In the fleeting moments of shared glances or casual comments, there lay a promise of change, tempered by the understanding that each step forward carried consequences for everyone involved. One rainy evening, while the city was awash with the reflective shimmer of wet streets, Jennifer sat at her desk writing a letter, a draft of thoughts meant for no one but herself. In that letter, she chronicled her desires, her doubts, and her quiet resolve to honor every part of her identity. She wrote of the need to be true to herself, even if that meant venturing into unknown territory. The act of writing was cathartic, each word a stitch in the slowly mending tapestry of her heart. In the process of this internal reckoning, Jennifer began to see her life as a series of chapters, each one demanding its own courage and honesty. The convergence of memory, emotion, and possibility was a reminder that every human journey was fraught with the tension between comfort and transformation. Although the path forward was uncharted and filled with delicate uncertainties, she felt a stirring of hope, a quiet anticipation that the future, with all its challenges and promises, could become a canvas for a truer, more authentic version of herself. As the rain subsided and the first hints of dawn colored the sky, Jennifer closed her journal and gazed out the window with a newfound clarity. The journey ahead might be complex, and the choices before her layered with nuance, but within that complexity lay the raw beauty of a life fully lived.